Hello and welcome to La Mesa, the official podcast of the city of San Antonio, where we discuss timely topics in a roundtable setting. At La Mesa, everyone is invited to the table. My name's Luke Simons, Communications Administrator with the city's Workforce Development Office, and I will be hosting this episode where we will be talking about the San Antonio Ready to Work program. This discussion comes at a good time. We just finished Thanksgiving, the winter holiday season is upon us, and it's also a time where many people are looking towards the new year. Also, they might be looking for a new start or an upgrade, especially when it comes to their skills and their job. Ready to Work is a premier training, education, and employment program meant to help eligible residents take their skills to the next level in order to get high-demand, quality-paying jobs. The aim is to take individuals from low-paying jobs and move them into high-quality careers. Today, more than 3,400 people have been placed in approved jobs. The average annual salary increase is more than $33,000. That is a huge impact on a person's life. Today's guests all have different perspectives of the program and are all very important in this collaborative effort. Brendan Snow was a participant with the program. He has now found an in-demand job. Hi, Brendan.
Thank you for having me.
Mike Ramsey is the executive director of the city's Workforce Development Office that runs the Ready to Work program. Hello, Mike.
Thank you, Luke.
And Tashina Piña is the director of Ready to Work at the Alamo Colleges District. ACD is one of 6 prime partners helping get participants training and other assistance that they need. Welcome, Tashina.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
I think it's important that we start with a quick look at what the San Antonio Ready to Work program is. It is taxpayer funded, approved by 77% of the voters coming out of the pandemic in order to help those in need find jobs. Mike, why don't you start and kind of give us an update on where the program is and why this program got started?
Thank you for that, Luke. And you kind of led into it about what was going on here back in November of 2020 with the pandemic. Like many other cities across the country, Ready to Work was designed to make sure that those people who were impacted by the pandemic had an opportunity to go back to school, get some education and training opportunities that are prevalent here in our local community, aligned with local employer needs, so they can set themselves up to get in a better job. That's what Ready to Work has been from its inception. And since that time, over 14,000 San Antonians have enrolled in education and training programs. Around 4,200 of those individuals have completed their education and training programs, and about 3,400 plus have been placed in approved jobs. So we're super excited about the progress of the work. It's a continual process as we help the city of San Antonio and all of our community partners to be laser focused on helping people to find pathways out of poverty and into prosperity.
We're going to break this program down quite a bit and talk about a lot of different aspects, but I think the number one priority are the people, the residents of San Antonio. Maybe people out there who are listening to this podcast are interested in something like Ready to Work and wondering what might be next. So Brendan, let's go right to you because you went into the program. You just got an in-demand job. Talk about what this program has meant to you in order to get ready and prepare you to find that job and now look towards a career.
It's definitely been empowering, I'd say, just because what I was coming from before, not necessarily a terrible situation, but I had definitely been struggling with some personal issues that had been affecting my ability to perform in college well. Ability to maintain the jobs I was doing, which were dead end, so to speak. So I had kind of counted myself out from a more dedicated career in a specified industry. But I think the program, I guess you could say it was like a hand reaching out to somebody that I had to grab and pull onto. And the enthusiasm that the people in this program have given to the participants has been just overwhelmingly helpful.
I mean, I think it says a lot about you to be here and tell us the story. But I think there's also a lot of people who are listening wondering, should I take that next step? And usually I think that's the hardest part. So what would you tell people who are wondering maybe what they want to do? They want to find that better career and why Ready to Work might be right for them.
Firstly, I'd say to not feel ashamed of the position you're in, that programs like these and individuals working within these programs, even within your own community, want to help you, want to get you into a better, more prosperous situation. And I think people can be generally skeptical about city programs in general. So I would say learn as much as you can about the program. Talk with the coaches and advisors within that program and see how it could work for you. And if you end up enrolling and going through the training programs, give it your all, give it full dedication to achieve the goal you want to achieve.
Tashina, let's turn to you, because Alamo Colleges is one of 6 prime partners. Explain where the prime partnership comes in, because for people like Brendan who are looking for someone who's going to get them in the right spot, get them the correct training, that's where our partners really kind of jump in. So talk about what ACD is able to do and some of those other prime partners for someone like Brendan.
Absolutely. So as a prime partner, we are with the applicants from the application stage, telling them about the program, helping them get through the eligibility determination, and then helping them enroll. And that goes into making an informed decision, helping them know what their options are, what's the right format for their training. And it's all going to go into what career do you see yourself doing? What is it that you find joy in? What skills are you looking to earn? So that way we could get you into that career. So all of the prime organizations are going to offer that career coaching and mentorship to get into the right education pathway. And then beyond that, I mentioned career coaching. So we're going to help you with the mock interview skills, resume writing. I think you mentioned you had some resume tweaking that was done. So we're going to help with all the soft skills that are needed, and then connect you with our pledged employers and anyone out there who's looking for the job that you now are trained for.
I guess the next question is a little bit for you, Tashina, and for you, Mike, because I do think it's important for people to understand it's not a one size fits all. Every person does have a different perspective and life experience, no matter where they are and what they're doing. So talk about the importance from a prime partnership to make sure that person's getting the correct support. And then for you, Mike, like in-demand jobs that we're looking for, we want to make sure that they're there so that when that person gets that training, they have a place to go and they can actually get a job.
When we're working with the participant, we want to make sure that we're setting them up for success. So what that means is doing assessments, a comprehensive, holistic assessment in the beginning. I mentioned looking at what skills and what interests you have, but it goes beyond that. Do you have a justice-involved background that we need to be aware of? Because we don't want you to be discouraged at the end to find out that that was a barrier to you getting certification or licensure, and now you can't get a job because of that. So we want to try and help you with the resources we have up front before we put you in that pathway. Maybe you need something, a format that's hybrid because you have needs at home or something to work around your class schedule. We're going to help you look into the programs that fit your living situation, your proximity, to make sure that you are successful in getting to class, being able to log in or physically get there. And then, of course, we're assessing from the very beginning when you're doing that application, we're assessing if you have any challenges to even start training. So, of course, we're going to help you along the way when you're in one of your trainings, but we're going to help you from the very beginning to make sure you could even get to that start on day one. So we're going to assess, do you have any needs at this time? And if so, we have a community of network that we can refer you to resources to, again, get you started on the right foot.
Yeah, I would concur with everything that Tashina just said. Everybody's journey is going to look different, and success for every participant is going to look different. And I think that Ready to Work is flexible enough in its application that we can help you no matter where you are on any end of that spectrum. Why? Because we have employers that are hiring talent on every end of that spectrum. Ready to Work has over 600 employers that have pledged to support the program with a wide variety of industries and occupations available. So our job at the city level is to try to make sure that alignment exists between the jobs that employers have locally, the trainings that are available to be supported through Ready to Work funding, and the support that our prime partners are giving to make sure that that proper alignment is there up front with the participant. Because the better we are at putting the person on the right path and setting them up for success, I love the way that you stated that, Tashina, the better the outcome is going to be on the backside for both the participant and the employers receiving that talent.
Mike, I think it's also important for people to understand that not only for the person, is everything different, everybody's different, but even employers are looking for different things. And even though we have someone from Alamo colleges, maybe an associate's degree or a bachelor's degree isn't what they're necessarily looking for. It's also certifications and other things like that. So can you explain kind of the spectrum that people maybe they don't want to spend as much time. They want it a little quicker, or, different things. So just talk about those opportunities as well.
Absolutely, Luke, and that's an excellent point. Within the Ready to Work initiative, about 80% of our participants are pursuing non-degree credentials. Why? Because they need a job, a better job right now. A lot of our participants are working either part-time or either unemployed at this moment in time, and they want to get on their feet as quickly as possible. And a credential of value is a very efficient route to get there. Not to devalue the degree pathways, because again, we have a large percentage of individuals who started school here in San Antonio. Life happened and they had to stop out. I think Brendan's an example of that. And for many of them, they want to get back into that degree pathway and finish that degree and then continue to pursue their career goals along that trajectory. So Ready to Work is here to help them as well. So everything from 4-year degrees to 2-year degrees to short-term certificates are available to be funded through Ready to Work. And every employer has a different criteria for what they're looking for even the same job opening. You could have one employer that says, I only want people with 4-year degrees for my entry-level IT positions. You can have another employer that will say, hey, give me somebody with a certification that went through a boot camp, that has the will, that has the aptitude and the desire, and we'll take them. So you have to be able to serve that entire spectrum of employers with the talent coming out of Ready to Work.
So Brendan, since you brought it up, you get to a point where you're not sure what's going to happen next. Talk about how big it was to be able to reach out to the program, to your prime partner, and say, hey, this is what my situation is. And did you feel like, they were trying to make it so that it works for you?
Felt like a very compassionate kind of approach. I mean, I had truthfully kind of lost hope in my ability to just move forward, honestly. And, I can speak for myself and some classmates there. I was classmates with some mothers and fathers who were even younger than myself. So all kinds of different backgrounds and situations. But in a lot of the cases, we were there for a certificate because we had needed to get access to a job as quickly as possible, ideally. And so, I mean, it kind of restored some hope in myself a little bit to kind of prove to myself and people around me that I was capable of being disciplined enough to complete a program like this and to bring myself into the field that I want to be in.
Does it open your eyes even more, though, like how unique this type of program is when you see those different types of people that are around you, all ages, different points of life? We've talked about it. Yeah. And just what it's like to be involved in something like that and see people that really do care about you and what's going to happen next.
Yeah, it's necessary for everyone, honestly, and it's surprising to see it as beautifully as it's done. I can remember moments in classes or dealing with like processing paperwork and things like that, that the personnel in that program were super enthusiastic about being there and about talking to the students and all that. And some people were kind of caught off guard by that because you think of city programs or kind of logistical stuff. It's always just boring, long wait times, kind of a lack of care for your situation. But I think this program is different in regards to meeting the needs of an individual.
I want to make sure that we mention all of our prime partners because they're all very important. So Brendan went through Restore Education. We've got Alamo College's districts here. Project Quest has been there since the beginning. Workforce Solutions Alamo. We also have Goodwill San Antonio and Hallmark University. So Tashina, now hearing something like that from Brendan and knowing that they felt like people were listening and trying to understand what the situation is, what does it feel like for you as one of those prime partners to be able to put those people in the right path, maybe in the right, job that they're looking for, and make it all work and kind of fit for that person?
Mm-hmm. You definitely have to have a sense of obligation to the people that we're serving because we are the subject matter experts. We are who they're coming to for guidance because this is our job to help them be on the right path. So everyone on the team not only has to have the passion for the work, because at the end of the day, we're so privileged to really be affecting change in other people's lives, but they're turning to us. So we have to always know that Take the time, listen to them. That's going to be a big thing, is getting to know them. Somebody might not necessarily open up and share their whole life story. So it takes time to kind of build that rapport and know that they can trust you, because we need their feedback so that way we can have all the information to help them make the right decision.
We've also talked about there's other ways that Ready to Work can help people. It's not necessarily, hey, we're going to just get you on the right path. I mean, sometimes you run into things where you just need some help. So, Mike, why don't you first of all just talk about some of the other aspects of Ready to Work, ways that it's there to help people in whatever situation they might kind of find themselves in.
Yeah, Luke, that's a very good point, because there's lots of barriers that people face today. And Ready to Work is equipped with the Emergency Support Fund to help people to overcome some of those barriers. I like to use this example because our goal is to make sure that people can persist and get through their training programs. If an issue pops up, like an issue with your car, and you can't get back and forth, that emergency fund provides up to $1,500 that can help either with car repairs, a bus pass, so you can get back and forth. If you have an issue with housing, and you're short on your rent this month, things happen. You may, have to adjust your hours down to be able to get through school, and you don't have that funding. That emergency funding pot is there for situations like that. If your utility bill is in jeopardy of having your utilities being shut off, Ready to Work can step in and cover the cost of that utility bill to make sure that you can stay focused on your education and training program and not get sidetracked or have to go and pick up some extra jobs to make sure you can keep the lights on. Ready to Work is in place to make sure a lot of those barriers can be mitigated. When I think about childcare, it's one of the biggest barriers that many of our single parents are facing as they try to go back to school and achieve their career goals. Ready to Work, thankful to our city council, has a fund there that can help cover the cost of childcare until that individual completes their training, gets into an approved job, and is able to stand that expense up on their own. So whatever the issue may be, Ready to Work has a potential source of support to help overcome that issue. We talked a little bit earlier, Tashina did, about justice involvement. Huge portion of our population has had some type of involvement with the justice system or are re-entering citizens from incarceration. Well, in Ready to Work, if that issue can be expunged, there's funding available through that emergency funding pot to get the legal process completed so that we can remove things from your record if they're eligible to make you more employable so that you can enhance your employment opportunities down the road. So there's a ton of barriers that exist. And if the Ready to Work funding can't directly help you, we're part of the Alamo Area Community Network, a referral network of many nonprofit organizations throughout San Antonio where our partners and their case managers can refer you for assistance. If there's alcohol or substance abuse, we have partners within that Alamo Area Community Network that can help you to work through those issues so you can be more employable and achieve your career goals.
In some ways, I'm sure some people listening might say, that's too good to be true. But Brendan, I mean, you've seen it firsthand how it can help you in other ways. So why don't you kind of share your experience there, even just making sure you can get to the classes and do those sorts of things?
Definitely. Yeah. My experience was that it was a little different because I'm a little younger, single, no kids or anything like that. So I'd received assistance for gas. I'd received like gift cards to be able to purchase gas because the training site for me was could be 50 minutes to an hour from where I live. So that was beyond helpful for sure, as well as assistance with a cell phone bill. So it kind of allowed me to kind of laser focus on what I was trying to achieve.
How big was that for you though? Like you talk about it, it's taking some of those obstacles away that might keep you from doing it. It could easily stop you in a heartbeat.
I was freeing. Yeah, it was freeing for me to just have the means to focus on that. And because it's a lot of information in the curriculum, it's not kind of really handed to you or given to you. You really do have to put a lot of effort in studying and applying yourself to what you're trying to do. But I can say for my classmates too, there were some people in all kinds of different situations. Just like I didn't know about the fund being able to expunge things off of people's records or assist with daycare, rent, and utilities. I didn't need to take advantage of things like that at the time, but I know from talking to my classmates that it allowed them to basically get it done. They have the potential and the desire in them to get themselves to a better place, and for the program to kind of take away those things that might drag them down or keep them feeling defeated in some aspects. It's really helpful.
And then for you and Tashina, how big was it for you to have a partner? Like we said, you were at Restore Education, but you knew you could talk to someone and say, hey, I'm running into this. And then for you, Tashina, being on the other end of, okay, like you said, we're here to help. Like, that's what we want to do.
You feel more connected, more human, honestly. It's not like a lot of other programs, how their procedures are run, that it's very limited. You're talking through email or talking through documents in some sense. You get to kind of open up directly to that person, and they get to listen and respond and utilize those resources to meet whatever you're giving them in that moment.
We renamed our emergency funding bucket to Empower Funds. It's an acronym because we wanted to take out the fact that it had to be a dire straits emergency, that you had to wait till you were sitting in the dark trying to read with a flashlight or your cell phone light. We wanted to remove that. And we also wanted to remove the embarrassment if it's there. We've dealt with students who feel too proud to ask. And we wanted to make them know that this is a resource available to you, so that way you can focus on school. Because as Mike was saying, if your lights are out, you can't study. If you don't have gas, you can't get to the campus. Look at our recent government shutdown. You may not have had food before the holiday, let alone, and especially when your children, if you have children, are home for a week out of school, not getting those school prepared meals. So we're able to do that. And I think that's the beauty of Ready to Work. Additionally, on top of, lining people up for great careers, is that it was designed with the whole student, serving the whole person in mind. We've seen so much research over the recent years that show funding tuition's not enough. That's not enough to say, hey, we paid for your training, you should be graduating, because there's so many other factors that come into play. And I saw a video not too long ago that it was research showed, or whatever research they did showed, $400 was all it took for someone to drop out because of something that came up that cost up to $400. So we're not talking about thousands that really was a bind for them. Just $400 was enough to make someone have to drop out of school. So Ready to Work being able to provide these resources, because sometimes it's the basic need level, and sometimes it's a long-term, like the justice involved record expungement. That's one of my favorites, because you're talking about long-term. Yes, we could pay your gas right now, but we can also help you get these expunged if they're eligible. And that will take away your fear of applying and makes you apply for more, because it's your record's not going to come up as a barrier. And it helps you just have that opportunity to say, I am now eligible for more jobs that I can go ahead and submit my application for, because this is no longer a barrier for me.
I mean, I think even recently, somewhat recently, we saw SNAP benefits, someone who might be relying on that, the government shutdown, those sorts of things that happen, and you may not know that they're coming around the corner. But for, I guess, all of you to be able to see a program that has, in a way, a contingency for you to figure it out. I mean, what's that like for all of you a little bit?
Yeah, I think that was a big part of the design process, Luke. San Antonio takes care of San Antonio. And I think that when the city council and the task force came together to kind of structure Ready to Work, that was a big part of consideration to make sure that those needs could be met through these resources.
San Antonio taking care of San Antonio. I think a lot of things that, not to say outsiders, but people coming from outside trying to establish different programs or ideas can sometimes miss out on how important and integrated community is in San Antonio. People who live regular lives, and with growing industry and governmental issues, I think sometimes people running into their own personal life issues, whether incarceration, addiction, family issues, having trouble taking care of children, a lot of people can feel emotionally, financially defeated. And the kind of holistic approach that the program is taking is what works for people. It's, at the end of the day, just taking care of a person and their needs. A person wants to feel listened to. A person wants to feel seen in their situation, not feel unable to pull themselves out, not feel ashamed for receiving help, too proud to receive help, no matter who they are. They're all deserving of respect, kindness, compassion, and the ability to help for themselves.
Let's talk about the types of jobs people might get at the end of this, because it's not just any job. Like, that's not the point of this program. It's to put you into a better situation than you were before. So Mike, why don't you explain what an approved job is and some of those main jobs that we're looking at that people are in demand here in San Antonio that we're trying to fill.
Yeah, thank you for that question, Luke. An approved job is critical for Ready to Work because we want to make sure that people, thank you for that statement, Brendan, because, we got a lot of dashboards and a lot of stats and a lot of numbers, but it's about people. And that's really the work that's life-changing that we're doing through Ready to Work, is to help people, our neighbors, to get on their feet. And there's a plethora of occupations, and that approved job level is at least $15 an hour as the floor. It's not the target, it's just the floor. On average, our 3,800 people that have gotten jobs already as of this recording are making about $21.50 per hour. So we're far exceeding that floor. But it is a criteria because we want to put people into entry-level roles that are on a career pathway trajectory. Those jobs also have to be full-time. So not part-time employment, but full-time employment. And you have to be a W-2 employee, meaning not temp work, not a contractor, not through, just a staffing agency, but you're a permanent employee of that company. And those pieces also have to align with our target industries for San Antonio and be one of the approved target occupations that our advisory board reviews every quarter to make sure that we're fulfilling that business need for talent here locally. So it's a little bit more than just getting a job, is getting into a career pathway, which is what Ready to Work is designed to do.
And Tashina, a lot of that relies on employers that are ready to get these people who have these credentials, like a Brendan who goes in, he learns something, he's ready. We know he's ready to put him out there. So talk about what you guys do as far as those certain fields and occupations that are a focus, and then saying, okay, we're gaining the trust also of employers from the outside that know the people that we train are ready to step in and fill these positions.
We have some great employer partnerships. So sometimes they even come as early as the classroom setting to talk to the students, the whole classroom, to say, here's an opportunity. Go through your training, get your certification, and at the end, we're ready to hire you. Some of them even interview at the very beginning before they even start class. So that way, as they're in training, they know that they're already hired. They just have to finish the courses to get that job. So for our team, it's knowing who those employers are and building those relationships so they understand our program. And we also work with them. So in some capacities, our training providers are even willing to make curriculum changes to answer the demands of the workforce. If the employer is saying this is what somebody needs to come prepared with, then sometimes we can go back to the curriculum and work with the training providers to make improvements there or focus on a certain area so they're prepared specifically for that job.
And Brendan, you picked the healthcare field, so we can talk about that. What did you see as far as them having a need and then saying, you know what? You've got the training that we're looking for. That's got to feel good because I think you said you had a job within 3 months. Yeah. So just talk about that.
Yeah, there's always a demand within the healthcare field anywhere, whether in pharmacy tech, phlebotomy, nursing, medical assistant, front office, things like that. They come at you with open arms for sure. So you have a lot of options and also the understanding that there's verified growth within that. It's not like somebody's dropping you off into a job and kind of leaving you to go figure it out for yourself. They're laying the pathway in front of you, and there's definitely the opportunity to progress to very high levels.
We talk about, Mike, I guess a very important part is needing the employers there. So talk about those conversations. There's more than 1,500 that have taken the pledge to be an employer. So talk about the importance of them being ready and then trusting this whole process where it goes that they're going to get someone good.
Yeah, Luke, the employers are a critical piece of this. We're not just training and educating people for the sake of doing it. We want them to be employed here locally with our employers. It's truly a win-win Ready to Work is for our participants and the employer. Because if they have job vacancies, there's a cost associated with recruiting and finding individuals to interview to fill that vacancy. So the Ready to Work initiative and its partners, by helping to train that talent, prepare that talent, getting their resumes ready, helping them to get ready for the interview, is a cost savings for the employers on the other side. So those 1,500 plus employers that have hired from the program are reaping the benefits of that talent being produced by the Ready to Work initiative. So we try to stay as closely aligned to them as partners as possible. We work with Greater SATX and their talent pipeline management framework, where they're convening employers on a regular basis, drilling down into their job descriptions, helping them to see that alignment with Ready to Work and how we can shift our offerings to make sure that we can better meet their needs. It's a critical part of Ready to Work, is making sure that we're aligned with local demand, not just from the labor market information or data standpoint, but from firsthand conversations with those hiring managers around what they're looking for, which skill sets they value the most, so that we can make sure that our partners are preparing participants to be able to meet that need. I also think that because industries continue to shift, the role of our advisory board in adjusting those target occupations to meet what we're hearing from those partners, employers in those convenings, and what we're seeing locally in the hiring market is critical. Like, we have to make sure that continual assessment of which occupations are bringing the most value to our participants and to our local employers. We have to stay on top of that as quickly and as much as possible.
I always think there's people who are going to say, well, I'm not going to be in Ready to Work, so why should I care? But when it comes to economic development of our city, or if I'm going to ever end up in a hospital or have a need where I run into that, that's why it is important for these people. So just talk a little bit about that.
Absolutely, Luke. I tell everyone that economic development doesn't exist without workforce development. You have to have it. The two are intertwined. If a company is looking to grow or expand their business here locally, you have to have the workforce and the talent here to do it, or it's going to cost you more money to go outside of San Antonio to get it. If you're looking to relocate your business from somewhere else, one of the first questions those companies are asking our economic development team, where am I going to get my workforce? Having an initiative like Ready to Work that is already preparing talent for you as you begin to launch your business here in the San Antonio area is extremely beneficial. And to your point, everyone's going to the hospital. You want to make sure that those nurses, those techs are highly trained and skilled, and you don't have shortages in the hospital room, so that can impact your care directly. So Ready to Work is helping to make sure that our local healthcare system is filled with talent. And it truly is an employer. The workforce ecosystem existed long before Ready to Work. When Ready to Work was birthed, the premise behind it from the city was to take those best practices that are yielding the best results and try to organize that with the funding from the city to make it better, to improve the conditions for all San Antonians, particularly those who are most in need. So for Ready to Work, what we're hoping to do as we look at the city of San Antonio in the long term is to raise the standard of living for everyone in our community and combating poverty through education and training. And the more effectively and efficiently we can do that, the whole prosperity of our entire city will begin to shift.
Kind of building off of that, Tashina, we have seen from an economic development standpoint, businesses that want to come here and they tell us, we need these skills. How can you get these people with those skills for us and work together to make that happen? So talk about on your end, how it's been to be able to even put some programs in place to make it so that it fits what our workforce needs and what the people of San Antonio need a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. It goes back to all the employer feedback goes back to the assessment up front that I was talking about. Anything that we're learning from the employers helps us put the people on the right track from the very beginning. So if an employer is saying, this is what our work environment is, this is what our expectations are, these are our shifts, things like that nature. So we can say, okay, we're going to know the type of individual that's going to thrive in that setting, in that kind of role. So employer feedback is critical. I mentioned earlier that sometimes revisions of, I'll say, for example, we had a medical billing and coding class that was using a certification that was not highly desirable by a major employer that has, to this day, lots of job opportunities. They're waiting for our students to finish so they can hire them. So what that training provider was able to do was change the certification that they offered through their curriculum and prepare the students to be eligible for an opportunity there, because then again, you have a better chance of having a direct hire coming out of training because they are now responding to the needs of the the employer.
Have you seen it on your end as far as the training that you received, somewhat being specific towards exactly what your new employer now kind of was looking for?
I mean, from the certification path, it's literally exactly what they need. So I think that approach to meeting the person where they are works best, especially for both ends, for those individuals in those positions are affecting their community around them. So everybody benefits from that kind of approach. And I think employers can be confident in what's being put out because the program has taken the initiative to actually get closer to those people.
And then Tashina, kind of building off of also what Mike said, like, I mean, it's a local program helping local people. And I mean, that's what Alamo College is all about. So like, talk about how big that is, that these are people here locally that are looking for the help that they need. And then we're putting them right back in to help our own community.
Absolutely. I mean, you all have heard the latest that we are one of the poorest big cities in the United States. I know I don't want that reputation. That's going to hurt us all around. People aren't going to want to visit here, move here if that's what they're thinking. So this is a great program that can really have a sustainable impact on the local community. So, we get this going. We've gotten this going for 3.5 years, a couple years more. We're going to really start to see that change rolling out that, again, affects your neighbors. So yes, maybe ready to work. You're not going through it yourself, but it's going to impact your neighbors, your friends and family, and of course, the employer landscape. It's going to bring more companies here so we can continue that cycle of there's jobs. So then there's a need. So our people in this community are getting hired. I just want to add also that we are a career coaching resource to our participants, but we're also a resource to the employers. So I think that's a great incentive for someone to hire a Ready to Work participant because they get us too. So what I mean by that is, say Brendan is not, he's having some challenges there on the job. We can have that conversation with the employer to get that kind of feedback. So then we could come back to Brendan and say, let's help you with this. Or, hey, we're hearing this is going on. Do you need a resource that we can work out? Because we want you to not just get the job, but keep the job, grow in the job. And then that's why we do a 12-month retention period. So you get your career started. We're celebrating, great, get started, but we're still going to stay there. You don't lose us. You don't lose the support. We're going to stay there for a year, make sure everything's going right. And like I said, that's also going to benefit the employer because the intention's not that you get a job. We got that, yay, you did it. And then you move on and it didn't work out. We want it to work out so that way it benefits you and benefits the employer as well.
As we kind of get closer to wrapping up, I want to ask all of you kind of the same question. I'm going to ask a couple of them. So the first one is, what do you think's the biggest misconception about the Ready to Work program? And I'll open it up to whoever wants to go first, that people might not understand about the program.
I think that number one, people think that this program, because of some of the metrics that are grabbed hold to and reported, is struggling or failing. I think that there's thousands of examples of people like Brendan who've been supported and helped by this program, and their lives are on a much more positive trajectory because of the support they receive from our prime partners and the work that they've put in their education and training programs and finding employment here locally in San Antonio. I think we need to tell that story loud and broadly so that people can understand, the taxpayers can understand that their dollars being put to good use. There is no wasted resource in investing in people's education and training here in San Antonio. As Tashina stated, we're always at the top of that list for poverty rate. We've been that way for decades. The only way we're going to shift and change that is through education and training, making sure that our people have the right skills that are going to increase their value to local employers. And it can't just be those people who are right there on the cusp. You have to dig and reach out to those individuals in our community who have been overlooked in the past to make sure that no matter what their barriers are, the community is going to wrap their arms around them and support them because they are San Antonio. And if San Antonio is going to look different 10 years from now, as far as poverty goes, we cannot ignore that group of people. We have to continue to invest in them. We have to make sure they have the resources to be successful.
Biggest misconception? Do y'all have anything?
The approach can be either on one extreme, kind of overbearing and let me give you what you need, check in all the time, kind of being like a PO kind of position so that we can meet this metric or do this thing, or not participating much, not checking in much. I can say from experience that it's like dealing with a regular person, just checking in on you in a natural sense, seeing how you're doing, seeing where you are on that path, what support you need, and it's offered to you in a very practical way. I had seen exactly what you were talking about in some social media posts, and can't take those perspectives from face value. I think you really, if you want to know what it's about, then you should come and try it, see what it can do for you. But I will say from personal experience that you kind of do get what you give into it. You still have to want what you want, and they're going to support you in getting there.
Man, that's an excellent
That is
point.
great. That was great.
Man, that is spot on. That is spot on. And we've been talking, about all the city resources, the partner support, but that person, man, they have to go get it. Like you have to participate in the process. Like if you don't participate in the process, spend those hours studying, spending that time rearranging your life and adjusting your habits and getting the discipline necessary to be successful in the classroom, and then get out there and hunt for those jobs, put those applications in, go and do those interviews. Those things are going to be the key to you being successful or not. Our partners are here to support. They're here to be your biggest cheerleaders, but that person has to really step up and say, you know what? I'm going to grab the bull by the horns and take control of my life and make this happen. So thank you for saying that, Brendan.
A lot of people already kind of feel stuck in their situation. Yeah. So it's supposed to be a good challenge. You have to want better for yourself. Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, I would definitely just piggyback on both. So as Mike said, I see it firsthand. My team's working, like he was saying, Prime's over here working very hard. So we know that it's, improving someone's circumstance. One thing that my boss always says is, are they better coming to us than they were before? So we're seeing that. We're seeing not even the growth in income, but the growth in the individual. Mm-hmm. And then don't even get me started on the generational effects. How is that going to... We went to graduation not too long ago, and they allowed some of the graduates to walk across with their child in arms. And even if their children were sitting in the audience, they're now seeing education's a possibility. It was my mother or father did it, and now it's expected that I do it. I can do it too. So don't even get me started on the larger impacts. But there are people. So yes, we're very numbers driven because it is so transparent. Everything is available for anyone to see whenever they want. But those are real people, and we get to see the real people, and we know that that's important, and we know how this program is benefiting them. And again, if you're from the outside looking in this industry, I've been in this industry for a while, the numbers may not look like, oh, you're rocking it, but they are very, very comparable or even better than a lot of the statistics for its, same category in different aspects, different entities. If you were measuring the same things elsewhere, it's comparable or even better in most of the cases. And then 100% what Brendan said, we can provide everything you want. We have all the supports. The city works with us even beyond that if we have a greater need beyond that. But we cannot place you in a job if you didn't put the effort in. You have to do your part, and we're there for you. You ready? If you're ready, make that commitment and get it going and make that change in your life. We're there, and we're ready to help you do it.
And then the last question is going to go to all of you also, and I'll start with you, Brendan, because you kind of mentioned it. Like now you can see, where you are, where you want to continue that progress. So what would you tell people as far as the program? How would you explain, what you've been able to see with it and how it can actually change a person's life?
You're not alone in any of it. Where you've been, who's done what to you, this is a different kind of movement in the sense that it affects more than just your position in employment. This can, not on its own, with your own effort and desire, it can kind of restore some confidence in yourself, and maybe put you on the path to healing overall.
Tashina, what's it like to hear that? And then the same question, what would you tell people as far as saying, hey, it's worth looking to as an option?
Absolutely. I feel selfish hearing that because I get so much happiness and like self-gratification hearing that, I did something, my team did something every day that made a difference like that. So I always feel selfish to be like, wow, we really helped them, or we played a role in their success. But I heard it from one of our career coaches this week. She was talking to participants. She's like, I will start crying. She was saying how if it wasn't for this program, she would be homeless right now. But she was there, reporting her employment, talking with her career coach about, how her journey was successful. So it's immeasurable meaning on the work that we have the privilege to do every day. I'll go back to that graduation we were just at. We were asked to speak at it, and I asked my enrollment team lead if she would do the speech, because I thought, how unique is it that from her perspective, all her enrollment coaches and specialists, who are the first person that answers that phone when you want to just kind of find out about the program, or you decide, okay, I'm going to go ahead and apply. Let me meet with this coach and, do the application, see if I'm eligible. So that was her team do. So they're seeing you when you're walking in with just a dream. Maybe you've been out of school a long time. Maybe you've never been to college. Maybe you have your degree. You had a successful career and you got laid off. There's all these different backgrounds that we've talked about that they walk through our doors, and we're seeing them at that front end where maybe they're not confident and maybe they're not sure they could do it. Maybe they don't have the support at home that really, they're depending on to get through it. And to see them go through, be successful, have made the sacrifices that they needed to get to that end goal that they originally walked through our doors with, it's just a great opportunity. So take the opportunity. That could be you.
And then Mike, to hear this from both sides, I mean, this is why the program was made. So what do you tell people as far as why Ready to Work should be, an opportunity that they definitely consider?
Yeah, and I'll start with the businesses. If you're a company here in San Antonio and you're looking for talent, you've got hiring needs, Ready to Work is here to help. Our partners are developing talent, making sure that talent is job ready for you. Take advantage of it. It is going to be here for a season. And during this season, you can be connected to these partners and have a long-lasting relationship with them long after the Ready to Work funding has been exhausted. So I highly encourage you to do that. For participants, if you're thinking about going back to school and you live in San Antonio or Bexar County, if you're military connected, now is the time, because you've got the support financially. You've got the support to be your motivators, your counselors, your coaches, to give you that guidance that you need, and then ultimately to help you connect with local employers to find employment after you finish training. Whatever the barrier is, we've got a partner either directly contracted or within our network that can help. So now is the time. Seize the moment. Take advantage of it. We got a new year coming up. New year, new career. Take advantage of the resources available through Ready to Work so you can take care of yourself and take care of your family.
It's like you said, I mean, if you're looking for a fresh start in 2026, this might be the opportunity. I want to thank all of you for taking the time. Brennan, your personal story as a participant, Tashina as a prime, and Mike for what the workforce development team is doing. We want to thank you for listening to this episode of La Mesa, where everyone is invited to the table. We also want to invite you to learn more about the San Antonio Ready to Work program. Whether you're a resident that's interested in learning more, or you're an employer, as Mike said, that may want to get involved as well, you can visit our website at readytoworksa.com. That's readytoworksa.com. Or locally, you can also call 311 for more information as well. We appreciate this discussion, and if you're interested in other episodes of La Mesa, you can catch them on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Buzzsprout, and our YouTube channel. We hope you have a great holiday and an amazing 2026.